been kind of so fed up lately with basically doing things that I don't want to do. And obviously, throughout life, everybody has to do what they don't want to do. But I wish life wasn't like that. I wish if you wanted to play video games all day, you could. I wish if you wanted to, like maybe go help people and pick up trash, you could. I wish that there was more systems in place throughout the world in general that if you wanted to do something and make it a full-time job, you could. And that's why, like, partially I do wish I was maybe born a little bit into the future because I am really hoping that one day the world changes in a way where, like, you can actually get jobs that pay decently and do the things that you would want to do. If you ask me like what I would want to do as a full time job, there's two things that I would really tell you. There's one I would want as a hobby. So one is obviously content creation. You know, I do create a lot of content, and overall, this is to keep myself accountable, but it's also because I just love content creation, and I think it would also be cool to be able to upload videos. But that's like number one for everybody. Like, let's be honest, especially in this day and age. If anybody could sit home, play video games, and literally do nothing and get paid two plus K a month, everybody probably would. Especially if it was just like uploading one video every day or something like that. But then after that, I would probably say I would want to help people in like a different way. Like, I would love to be a part of a team that goes out and plants trees, or a team that helps like bring water to people, or feed people, or clean up trash. You know, in ones that aren't just volunteer work, because a lot of the times these things, and I do try to do them actively if I can help in that sort of way on my own, but a lot of these things are kind of locked behind the fact that they have a lot of unpaid people doing them, which is okay, but it also just makes it very hard to want to do that, full time. Because how are you going to feed someone with your imaginary money after went and helped feed other people? And I think there's something kind of weird about it, I guess you could say. Like, how is it that you can literally go and you can read stories about people who they help so many people, and they help feed people, and they help do food drives, and they help do all this stuff, but they can barely feed themselves, and it's just so weird. And then, like I said, a third one, professional boxer. I know that's a little left, super far out there compared to the other ones, but I love boxing so much. That's actually why we're kind of working towards a boxing physique. I'd love to, um, I'd love to box one day, like truly box. And I can't really afford to go to a boxing gym or anything of that sort right now. So I just have to train as if I am going to be. And I think that's the only ticket. But yeah, I've just been so fed up, and I feel like a lot of people in general have, because right now, even if you're really good at budgeting and everything, I will continue to reiterate the statement that employers do not want actual good employees. They want a employee that will follow what the manager says to a T. They don't want employees that will follow the guidebook to the T or will work like really well. They just want you to do what the manager says. That's it. Get in, get out, go about your day. And it's just so ridiculous. And a big reason I'm bringing this up is because, uh, like 2 days ago or a day ago, my one of my coworkers that we work the same shift texted me and was like, "Hey, would you take this shift for me? Because I'm the only person that is trained to do nights essentially outside of her, or managers, and managers don't want to work nights." And uh, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down as long as I get to keep my hours, basically." which makes sense. Why would I give up hours to work someone else's shift on my day off? And of course, she texts the boss, and the boss says, no, we can't do that. Well, why not? Oh, well, because we don't want anybody to have overtime. So if basically I take this day, I'd have 7 hours of overtime. 7 hours. Keep in mind, I don't make a lot of money. So 7 hours overtime, it'd be like an extra $100, $200 at the end of the month. And then with Thanksgiving pay, it'd be like an extra $400 at the end of the month, which is pretty good. Don't get me wrong, it's 100% really good. It's just, it's not a super crazy amount for working overtime and working on the holiday. And basically, I always hit with a, yeah, no, he would have to delete one of his days next week so that way he would miss out on pay for a day. How does that make sense? Yeah, let me go ahead and come in on my day off, by the way. Not like I was scheduled, took the day off, or I called in sick or whatever. No. I've had the day off for a month because they put the schedules up a month in advance. And you're going to tell me that I can come in and work as long as I'm willing to not come in another day so you don't have to pay me as much. Wow. You're so gracious of you. I can't wait for my extra $20. Like, it makes literally zero sense to me. But then there's a person at the place where I work who I'm really cool with this person, but like they basically run him through the ringer. Like, yeah, he's like he's not a manager, he's like a shift leader. So he's like a manager with like training wheels is basically how they act. But like what they'll do to him is they'll be like, "Hey, we know you've been working 80 hours this week. You want to?" No, they don't say, "Do you want to him?" They tell him, "Hey, by the way, you need to come in today and work this person's shift." So I almost guarantee that is what happened with this person. It is they said that to me that they weren't going to give me the hours, and then basically because I didn't take them, they're like, okay, well, let's hit up this guy who is already at 70 hours, by the way, meaning he's at 30 hours of overtime. That's usually what he works. And then they just are like, yeah, well, he's going to work the nights anyways. So not only are they paying this guy overtime, already a bunch of overtime, but then their nights we get a an extra $2, like per hour basically. So not only are they paying him overtime, but they're also paying him overtime on nighttime pay, and then they're also paying him nighttime pay. So this guy is, because of his position, he is going to basically get not only the whatever amount of overtime that he's already worked, but he's going to get an extra probably $200 to $300 from one singular day. But why give it to me, right? And I know it just sounds like I'm complaining, but genuinely, like that's the story. So I don't want to just summarize it. But yeah, it's just stuff like that where it makes you think, wow, I wish I could literally be doing anything else. Like genuinely go. I wish I could be doing something that would help people, and like I do help people in like a general sense. Like I try to make people smile, make people laugh, stuff like that, because I deal with a lot of people who are having a rough day, having a rough time. But when that's the extent of what you're doing, and then you're kind of met with what I just talked about in that story, plus you're met with like customers being rude to you, customers threatening you, customers doing all this stuff. It's like, man, why do people even work in customer service? Like, there's 100% a reason why people will quit a job on the first day. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I will say I don't like quitting jobs. I'll kind of just thug it out no matter what. But there is a large reason why America in particular has a issue with people quitting jobs on the first day. And it's because employers show crazy favoritism to people no matter like the circumstances. And I I know it's favoritism towards certain people, by the way, because specifically, if it was someone else, they probably would have allowed it, which makes literally zero sense. It's just that two night shift people, they don't want to pay night shift. The extra on night shift plus the extra on their regular pay, they just don't want to. It's very strange. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to me rant. Hope nobody else is really dealing with this. I know I can say that, but I already know other people are dealing with this. So, you know, at some point, life just is gonna have to change. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace.